Newsdays and Panday propaganda exposes why the newspaper is closing, an editorial by Professor Wall Street. The Trinidad Newsday's decision to publish Michaela Panday's low voter turnout propaganda about the January 2026 Tobago House of Assembly elections, while their own reporting documented that turnout was entirely normal and the TPP won a crushing 60% mandate, represents the kind of terminal editorial dishonesty that explains why the newspaper is shutting down after 32 years.
Newsday's own reporting stated clearly, the voter turnout shown in EBC reports were 49.7% 2017 THA poll, 51.85% January 2021 THA poll, 56.97% December 2021 THA poll, 50.90% calculated by Newsday for Tobago for the 2025 general election, and now 50.69%. Additionally, Newsday reported the TPP won 16,240 votes, 60.8% of valid votes cast, in a decisive 15-0 sweep. These numbers prove the January 2026 THA election represented overwhelming Democratic mandate delivered through normal turnout. Yet Newsday published Panday's claim that turnout appears to have been low, without any editorial challenge or acknowledgement that their own data proves this propaganda false. The motive is transparent. Panday's Patriotic Front, now effectively P&M Front, opposes the TPP's alignment with PM Persad Bissess's UNC government. So manufacturing low turnout narrative serves to delegitimize the TPP's crushing victory. Newsday provides propaganda platform because P&M operatives controlling the newspaper share this anti-UNC agenda. Both Michaela Panday and Newsday should hang their heads in shame. Here are 10 reasons why Panday's low voter turnout deception about TPP's overwhelming mandate shows Newsday and Panday terminal editorial dishonesty. 1. Newsday's own data proves low turnout claim is false. Newsday published data proving Panday's low turnout characterization is objectively false. Historical chat turnout 2017, 49.7%. January 2021, 51.85%. December 2021, 56.97%. 2025 General Tobago, 50.90%. 2026 THA, 50.69%.
The 50.69% turnout ranks third of 5 elections, higher than 2017 and virtually identical to the 2025 general election. Only December 2021, 56.97%, had significantly higher turnout. By what standard is 50.69% low when it's normal by historical standards? Newsday's own data proves Panday's claim false, yet the newspaper published it without correction.
2. TPP's 60% vote share demonstrates overwhelming mandate. Beyond normal turnout, the TPP won crushing Democratic mandate. 16,240 votes, representing 60.8% of valid votes cast, winning all 15 seats decisively. This 60.8% represents
improvement on TPP's 55% in 2025 general election, improvement on PDP's 58% in December 2021 THA elections,
more than 5,700 vote margin over P&M, 16,240 versus 10,456. Clear, unambiguous democratic choice. Panday's attempt to delegitimize this overwhelming mandate through false, low turnout narrative, while Newsday published data showing 60% vote share, represents propaganda attacking decisive democratic result because it doesn't serve her political interests. 3. No editorial challenge despite obvious contradiction.
Real journalism requires editors to challenge demonstrably false claims. When Panday characterized turnout as low, Newsday's editors knew. Their own reporting showed turnout was normal historically. Their own reporting showed TPP won 60% crushing mandate. Panday's characterization contradicted published facts. Yet Newsday published Panday's propaganda without editorial intervention, correction, or context. This abandonment of basic editorial standards, publishing claims the newspaper knows are false, represents terminal dishonesty, explaining circulation collapse. 4. Transparent motive, attacking TPP-UNC alliance. The propaganda motive is obvious. Panday's Patriotic Front opposes TPP's alignment with PM Prasad Bisessa's UNC government. The TPP's decisive 15. 0 victory with 60% vote share strengthens the UNC government through Tobago partnership. Therefore, Panday manufactures low turnout narrative attempting to delegitimize the result. Newsday's willingness to publish this propaganda, despite their own data proving it false, reveals the newspaper functions as platform for anti-UNC attacks. This partisan operation under P&M control explains why readers abandon the publication. 5. Panday's zero-seat performance makes critique hypocritical. The hypocrisy. Panday's Patriotic Front won 0 seats in the 2025 general election. Yet she presumes to lecture about broad participation and public confidence in the political process after an election with normal turnout producing 60% mandate for TPP. Panday has no democratic mandate, 0 seats, no electoral support, and no credibility questioning democratic health of election producing overwhelming popular choice. Newsday's platform provision for this hypocrisy, without noting her electoral rejection, represents editorial malpractice. 6. Democracy not strengthened by landslides alone deflection. Panday's statement, democracy is not strengthened by landslide victories alone, but by broad participation, represents transparent deflection from having to acknowledge opponents' crushing victory. The reality Panday avoids. The TPP achieved both broad participation, normal turnout, and landslide victory. 60% vote share, 15-0 seat sweep. Democracy was strengthened through clear popular mandate delivered with historical participation levels. Panday's false concern about democratic health serves to avoid acknowledging the TPP's overwhelming democratic legitimacy. 7. Newsday has become P&M propaganda outlet. This episode represents broader pattern. Newsday has become outlet for P&M-aligned propaganda. P&M operatives gain control through share purchases. Steve Castagne, Howard Chin Lee, Chairman Dawn Chicolingo married to P&M Chairman Ashton Ford, an editorial agenda shifted to obvious political partisanship. The newspaper publishes weekly anti-UNC attacks, provides platform for P&M propagandists like Panday, and contradicts its own reporting to serve partisan narratives. This transformation from independent journalism to partisan propaganda outlet explains circulation decline and closure. 8. EBC's Sting in the Tail framing reveals Newsday's bias. Newsday's own reporting revealed bias through framing. After detailing TPP's crushing 60% victory, Newsday wrote, however, the EBC statement also had somewhat of a sting in the tail for Augustin and a glimmer of hope for the deflated Tobago P&M. This framing, characterizing normal 50.69% turnout as negative sting for TPP and positive glimmer of hope for P&M that lost 15-0, reveals Newsday's editorial sympathy lies with defeated P&M rather than victorious TPP. Real journalism would frame overwhelming mandate as story,
not search for negatives in normal turnout data. 9. Recounts as glimmer of hope shows desperate bias. Newsday noted P&M requested recounts in 2 constituencies where they lost, framing this as glimmer of hope for deflated P&M. But recounts of races lost by 17 votes, Darrell Spring Wim, don't change 15. Zero sweep or 60% vote share reality. This desperate search for positive P&M narrative, framing recount requests as hope rather than accepting decisive democratic result, reveals Newsday's partisan agenda overwhelms editorial judgment about what actually constitutes newsworthy development versus partisan wishful thinking.
10. This editorial dishonesty explains why Newsday is closing. Most fundamentally, Newsday's willingness to publish propaganda it knows contradicts its own data, explains why the newspaper is closing after 32 years. Why newspapers fail. Readers abandon publications they recognize as dishonest. Partisan propaganda drives away readers seeking factual news. Editorial standards abandonment destroys trust. Circulation decline leads to advertising loss. Financial sustainability becomes impossible. Newsday's death spiral began when P&M operatives transformed independent journalism into partisan propaganda outlet. The Panday low turnout episode, publishing claims contradicted by Newsday's own reporting of normal turnout and 60% TPP mandate, represents microcosm of terminal dishonesty, killing the newspaper. In conclusion, propaganda kills newspapers. The Newsday Panday low voter turnout propaganda represents perfect example of why the newspaper is closing. Editorial dishonesty serving partisan political interests over factual accuracy. Newsday's own data proved 50.69% turnout was normal by historical standards. TPP won overwhelming 60% vote share. TPP achieved decisive 15, 0-seat sweep. Democratic mandate was clear and crushing. Yet Newsday published Panday's false, low turnout characterization without editorial challenge, correction, or acknowledgement that their own reporting contradicted this propaganda. The motive was transparent: attacking TPP-UNC alliance through delegitimizing democratic result. Both Michaela Panday and Newsday should hang their heads in shame. Panday for manufacturing false narrative to attack democratic results she opposes, and Newsday for publishing propaganda contradicting its own data to serve partisan interests rather than readers seeking factual news. The lesson: newspapers choosing propaganda over journalism, partisan service over editorial integrity, and political agenda over factual accuracy will inevitably lose readers' trust and face terminal decline. Trinidad deserves better than propaganda outlets masquerading as journalism, which is exactly why readers abandon Newsday and why the newspaper is now closing after betraying the independent journalism mission its founders intended. When a newspaper publishes data showing 50.69% normal turnout and 60% crushing vote mandate, then publishes propaganda characterizing that same election as having low turnout requiring concern, readers recognize the dishonesty and seek truth elsewhere. That's why Newsday is dying, not because of changing media landscape alone, but because readers refuse to pay for propaganda disguised as journalism,